You already know grammar and you know a lot of words. In fact, you've been studying English for years, but when you start speaking, you still don't quite sound like a native speaker. Does that sound familiar to you? Well, I'm not a native speaker myself. I was born and raised in Russia, and I moved to Canada in 2016. But I taught myself how to speak like a native speaker. And today, people tell me that I sound like one. I always get those messages on Instagram where people say, "Oh, I thought you were a Canadian. I thought you were an American. I thought you were a native speaker." So in this video, I'm going to spill all my secrets and share secret but simple techniques that you can start using today to speak like a native. And the last technique will absolutely blow your mind. So make sure that you watch this video till the very end. And before we start, tell me this. What is one thing that stops you from sounding natural? Is it your pronunciation? Is it a lack of vocabulary? Is it your speaking skills? Leave a comment below. I will choose one comment and make my next video about that. Let's go. The secret tip number 1. If you want to speak like the top 1%, you should have a very solid vocabulary. And this is how I do it. I listen to a lot of audiobooks and podcasts, and I use shadowing to pick up cool words and expressions. Now, what is shadowing? Shadowing is a technique where you listen to a native speaker and repeat what they say almost at the same time, like a shadow. Let me show you what it looks like. So I usually listen to my audiobooks on Audible. Right now, I'm listening to this book that is called The Art of Spending Money. Let me show you what I do.
The rich and the wealthy.
The rich and the wealthy.
Being controlled by money
Being controlled by money is a hidden form of
like
debt.
all debt,
And like all
will
debt,
eventually
it
be
will
repaid,
eventually be repaid.
plus interest.
Plus interest. So as you can see, I don't wait for him to finish. I speak pretty much at the same time. Now, this technique is going to help you learn cool words and expressions, learn how to pronounce them. It's going to help you speak faster and sound more natural because you're pretty much shadowing. You're repeating what he said. Now, if this book sounds a little too advanced for you, it's totally fine. You can find something easier. You can slow it down, but make sure that you practice this from 5 to 10 minutes a day. I would not recommend you to do it for any longer than that because you're going to get tired. And I tested this technique on so many of my students, and trust me, it works. So feel free to use it. Secret tip number 2. If you want to speak like the top 1%, you need to sound confident. And this is how I do it. I use the following intonation pattern to sound like a CEO. Let me explain. So in English, there are 2 main intonation patterns. There is the rising intonation pattern and the falling one. We use the rising pattern in general questions. For example, when I ask, "Is it true?" I'm going to use the rising pattern. Is it true? Because I need your answer, right? I need you to answer, so I'm going to use the rising one. Now, we use the falling pattern for statements. For example, when I say, "It's true," the intonation is going down. And also, we use it for special questions. For example, "Where did you go?" The biggest mistake that 99.9% of language learners make is the following. They use the rising intonation pattern in statements. Guys, please do not do that because you're going to sound insecure. But let me demonstrate. I'm going to read 2 paragraphs, first with the rising pattern and the second one with the falling pattern. And you try to catch the difference. Imagine I'm at a work meeting and I'm introducing myself. So I say, "Hi, my name is Veronica. I've been working at this company for 3 years. I'm a teacher with over 10 years of experience and I love my job." I sound a little insecure, don't I? As if I'm asking for permission to speak, as if I'm not confident in what I'm saying. If I change the intonation pattern, this is what I'm going to sound like. "Hi, my name is Veronica. I've been working in this company for 3 years. I'm a teacher with over 10 years of experience and I love my job." Now I sound like I know what I'm doing. I sound more assertive, more confident. And guys, if you change this one little thing, people will start taking you more seriously. So feel free to use it. Secret tip number 3. I always make sure that I stress keywords in a sentence. It helps me sound more natural natural and speak faster. Let me give you an example. If I take this sentence that you see in front of you and read it with very even intonation pattern, it's going to sound like this. This is the worst movie I've seen. But let me stress the key word, worst. This is the worst movie I've ever seen. Did you hear what happened? Now I sound more natural. I sound more expressive. Another example. I've never been more excited about a trip. So by stressing key words, we don't only sound natural, but we also speak faster without even trying. Why? Well, because when you stress a word, you gain momentum and it helps you pronounce the other words that are not as important as the keyword faster. So imagine as if you have a ball and you throw it against the wall. The harder you throw it, the faster it's going to bounce back. Well, the same with stress. The stronger you stress, the faster you'll be able to pronounce a sentence. Listen to it again. This was the worst movie I've ever seen. The worst I've ever seen. So the last part of a sentence was pronounced really fast. Why? Because I stressed the word worst. And this is something that a lot of students don't realize. That's why they read sentences in monotone and they sound not quite natural, I would say. So feel free to use this secret tip. Before we move on to the secret tip number 4, I'd like to let you know that I have an entire course that will help you sound like the top 1%. It's called English Bootcamp. So what is English Bootcamp? English Bootcamp is a legendary course that has been featured in a number of Canadian newspapers. Many of our students admit that before joining English Bootcamp, they were afraid to speak English in their everyday life. For example, when going to a doctor, when going to a bank. But after the course, they gained confidence and they became more independent in their everyday life. For example, our student Masa.
It was the first time that I went to the dental office on my own, and I didn't have any stress.
Being able to speak English without any stress is a huge achievement, especially for just 2 months of learning. However, some of our students admit that in these 2 months, they learn more than in 10 years of studying English, like our student Jasmine.
I feel that I learn more in 2 months that I learn in, 10 years studying English. So thank you very much because you are a great teacher.
96% of our students admitted that after taking English Bootcamp, they started speaking English more confidently, like my student Shakiba from Iran.
Hi guys, I'm Shakiba. I'm from Iran. I just want to let you know that Veronica's Bootcamp was one of the best experiences that I've ever had in my English learning journey. If you want to work on your confidence in English, if you want to learn more vocabularies, grammar, idioms, you have to go to this bootcamp.
So if you would like to make major breakthrough in your English level, in your fluency, and you want to speak English confidently in everyday situations, for example, when you are in a bank, when you are in a restaurant, when you are in a doctor's office or at work, if you want to stop worrying about grammar when you are speaking English, if you want to feel more relaxed in your everyday life, and if you want to stop worrying about mistakes, then this course is definitely for you. And right now, we have a special offer that we've never given to anyone before, up to 50% off. You can try out the first unit of the course absolutely for free. Just click the link down here below, open an account on my website, and you will be given access to the first unit. Try it out, see if you like the format, let me know what you think, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the course. And now, let's move on to the secret tip number 4. If you want to speak like the top 1%, you need to make sure that you speak accurately. And in order for you to avoid making mistakes, you need to get consistent feedback. Now, this is how I do it. I use this feature that is called speech to text on my phone when I need to send a message. So I never type my messages. I use this feature and it helps me catch the words that I mispronounce and even some grammar mistakes. Let me show you how it works. So let's say say that I want to pronounce the word launch, but I don't know how to pronounce it, so I make a mistake and I say lunch. And let's see if my phone is going to catch it. So I click on that microphone and I say lunch. And surely enough, here's the word lunch. So I realize, I mispronounced this word. So I try it again, launch. And now I see the word that I need. Obviously, it doesn't compare to receiving feedback from a teacher. For example, at English Bootcamp, I'm going to give you in-depth feedback on your pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary, every single class. But if you want to just start correcting your mistakes, this feature is the best for that. Feel free to use it. And we are moving on to the secret tip number 5. I wish somebody told me this when I was just starting to learn English 20 years ago. When it comes to pronunciation, in English, we don't have rules. And even if we have them, there are thousands of exceptions. That's why, please, never trust your intuition when it comes to pronunciation. Let's say you see a word, a simple word, and you think that you know how to pronounce it. Please double, triple check it with the dictionary or whatever source that you like using. Let me give you an example. Let's have a look at the word road. It's an easy word, right? You know how to pronounce it, road. We have the OA combination in the middle, and you know that it's pronounced as O, as in boat, coat, goat. We have a lot of words with that OA combination. You look at this other word that you see on the screen, and you think, well, it also has the OA combination. So probably we pronounce it as abroad, right? Wrong. So in the word abroad, the OA is pronounced as aw. Listen, not abroad. There is no O, abroad. It's the aw sound that we have in law, saw, raw. So you can never guess the pronunciation of English words. Please, to avoid countless pronunciation mistakes, just double check everything and you're going to thank me later. Well, with that, I'm going to wrap up this video and I want you to let me know what secret tip you're going to start using today to sound like the top 1%. Let me know in the comments. I really want to hear from you. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss any of our videos, and I'll see you very soon.